of this millennium, the biggest distraction. Now just look at the simple facts. They've been talking about it for 7 years. They've produced 2 words on constitutional recognition, that's it. They've produced nothing else. They haven't produced, even said constitutional recognition is. They can't even come up with is. So what does that tell you? They're not serious about constitutional recognition. They want to drag it on and on so they can put out the weakest model that gives us no rights whatsoever. And it is the wrong time. The time now is to be dealing with housing. The time now is to stop the fact that in Western Australia, if you're black, you're 54 times more likely to be arrested than if you're white. Now, why the bloody hell would you want to sign up to recognition where we're living in not third world conditions, fourth world conditions? Why aren't we fixing the problems before we even have that discussion? That proves once and for all, it is just a major distraction for white people to think the government is doing us a favour. You go around and ask Aboriginal Australia, except for some of the 40 thieves that go and meet without it, and some of the sellouts, the rest of us think it's garbage. We don't want to be in it. My personal opinion is the federal government should come crawling on their knees for me to recognise them. Because they are in our land. We are Aboriginal people, we are the original people here, and we never ceded this land. They should come and ask us and beg us for forgiveness, admit their histories, admit what they've done to our people, compensate us, and then beg us to recognise them. And if I'm in a good mood, I bloody well might. Back to Uncle Tom, who had a...
Talk to the people on the steps.
Since the beginning of time we were here, and they came here just a mere 227 years, and look what's happened. Since the beginning of time, we lived in a harmony with each other, and we lived a beautiful life under our own law. Look what they've done. A grain of sand at beach and time, look what they've done.
Yeah,
how
where they walking?
These people are.
All these guys are sitting on the step and they walked away. See them people up there, go talk to them. Look at them, they're all walking off.
They won't let us in though.
Exactly. They'll sit there on the step and they didn't do shit.
There was a woman where I went to
You maggots. All of you up there are maggots.
When we went to protest cases down in Kansas, when the bailiff saw us there, he came back with 3 carloads of police, pushed us all out, arrested us, dragged this poor woman out. She died on the street of Kansas, 50 years of age. So Western Australia's a police state. It always was. Since Captain Cook came here,
The redneck standing up on
it
him.
always will be a police state. We're struggling, we got desperate custody, and it goes on and on. So the time has come for us to stand together. And I told my people, but I had no eyes over there, told the same thing. But we've got to stand together. There's thousands over there. I was in South Africa for the World Conference on Racism. I marched with 60,000 Zulu people. When I came back, I told them, Bob, here, they said, if that was here, we'd have a revolution, we'd take over the place. So we're going to get that number going. So keep moving on. You know, we got a lot of non-Aboriginal people support us over there. Wonderful people. They stand with us all the way. Get locked up with us, and same here in Sydney. So, okay, we've got to keep pushing them, be in their face all the time. Get rid of these rednecks in here. Thank you.
Well, there's also, we've got to fight Woolloomooloo, we've got to fight down at Millers Point and try to put people out in the streets everywhere. Everywhere. If we don't win this battle, if we don't show the government that we can win, nobody will win. Nobody's safe. So, to talk about Millers Point.
Thank you for being here. I'm Patricia Corral, saltwater Morena woman of the sovereign ancient nation of Giroux. With honour, respect, love and power, with a legacy that's been given to us as first peoples of all of the sovereign ancient nations in this country. Our struggle has continued 227 to 200 145 years in all sorts of ways. Right here, down here, that's where the invasion started. 13 ships of boat people, right from bloody Britain. And we've been suffering ever since. The things that you've heard from my comrades and fellow workers and other speakers here that have been experienced by First Peoples in this country, the length and breadth of the land and the islands of the sea is about to be happening to the rest of you, non-Indigenous, privileged and benefiting from the land grabs, from the genocide that's been happening here, right there in the very first colonial suburb in this country at Miller's Point. I waited 26 years
Why don't you do it?
to be offered the place that I reside in at Miller's Point. Miller's Point, on the harbour, purpose-built for the workers, whose legacy now is down here at Port Botany, where the MUA, again, is struggling against things that happen to Aboriginal people. No work, no welfare, told by an email overnight that you're no longer wanted. I was down there yesterday and I'm stuffed because I can't. It's so hard to get there by public bloody transport, and that's how I went. My comrade and fellow worker Barney Gardner. Not Barney. From Miller's Point, where we are fighting social cleansing as well as ethnic cleansing. Down there at the point. Barney, take over, mate.
Thank you, Patricia. I'd like to pay my respects and my community respects to the traditional landowners of where I live at North Point, that being the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. And we pay our respects also to the elders past, present and those in the future. We down there know that we live on stolen land. And we've been thankful in a way that we've been able to live there. There's a lot of times I have, over the past few years now, woken up and said, well, we do owe these people thank you, because they are the owners of the land, always will be. These people behind us think that they can turf us out. The land up there at Redfern, I remember it years ago, I played footy up there with a lot of the people there. I played against them. Wonderful people. They're not asking for the world, they're not asking for a multi-million-dollar high-rise something. They're just asking for homes to be built on the block. Like it used to be, but not as bad as it used to be. So the correlation between us and the block is that they're turfing us out of our homes. The people at Redfern cannot get homes built there, and they are entitled to it. They're more entitled to homes there than we are down at Miller's Point. And there's so many homes down there. I would have liked to have seen a lot of the empty places down there, so many homes occupied, and indeed the Indigenous people moved down there because they deserve it. And like my friend Patricia, when she first came here, she was going to move into Redfern, but they didn't offer a place there. They offered a place at Miller's Point. And after a year or so, not even that long, she was part of the community. And we've gained because Patricia became part of this community. And she has indeed made many friends there, as all you people know us from there. So I would like to thank you all for turning out. And we've got to keep this struggle up. The MUA and all the union movement are involved in the struggle, and it seems very strange, don't it, that the working people and the Indigenous people, and also those of us who got old, are now under attack by this government, federal and state. And so what we've got to do is we've got to band together. We are a large group of people.
Well, there's
We
a
all
couple
get
of bastards
together.
jumping down now.
So if we all band together, we will be able to beat these people, and they deserve to be beaten.
This comes up here.
We cannot get any of these bastards out here because they don't need us. They need high end, they need the bankers, they need the big corporations. That's why we don't get recognised by these people, because we don't put any money in their pocket, but they take it out of ours. So I'd just like to say, on behalf of the Mills Point community, thank you to all the Indigenous people that are here today, and we thank you for allowing us to live on your land. Thank you.
Thank you, Barney. I think there's some tourists up there. Yeah. By the way, our lands are being stolen again. When you go in there to the Parliament, if you're running into politicians, tell them there's people out here that have been chucked off their lands. Tell them there's people being killed in cells every day that they are sitting in there in their nice little privileged white male world. Thank you, tourists. And here's a campaigner from ISJA, Indigenous Social Justice Association, is it? Yes, Raoul Buzzing. And he's a long-time campaigner, and I've got to say something, not a bad fellow.
Thank you, Ken. Look, last week we have a rally in the anniversary of the death of Miss Lou. Remember, this woman died, 24 years old woman in Western Australia, last year because she was arrested for an unpaid fines. The terrible fine that she didn't pay was amount to $1,000. And those $1,000 become the value of her life. She died because she felt bad, she felt sick. She was taken to the hospital. The hospital decided that nothing happened. She had pain, she had cramps in her legs, was taken again to the hospital, and the hospital decided that nothing happened. And the third time, she died. For $1,000. That is the cost of the life, apparently, for Miss Lou. It's a murder, yes. And this is what we have to think. Why they don't care about the housing for the Aboriginal people? Why they don't care for the rate of suicide of the Aboriginal people? Why they don't care for the criminal death of hundreds of Aboriginal people in this country? Why they don't care for the low rate of life of the indigenous kids? Why they don't care for the rights of the Aboriginal people? I tell you why. Because for them, for the racist society in which we live, the life of the Aboriginal people is no value. Actually, it's a problem, because the Aboriginal people has been I've been fighting every time since Mr. Cook came here. And that thing is something that the white society cannot forgive. They thought that the Aboriginal people wouldn't go to hide under the rocks. No, they are here, look the rate. It's been the Resident Aboriginal at the embassy has been fighting for 14 months, as many other expressions, like the embassy in Canberra, like all the rallies, all the campaigns for the death in custody. They are fighting and they don't like it. And you know what? I think that if the Resident Embassy wins, they are not going to like it. Like very, very much, don't like it, because everyone is going to understand. Everyone is going to understand that the Aboriginal people can fight, can keep fighting and not win. And that is the problem
That is the problem for them. And that's why we are here reminding them, that the Aboriginal people, with our support, whatever we can, as much as we can support them, is they win, and we are going to win other things. We win here, and see if they can touch the communities in Western Australia. See if they can touch the communities in South Australia. See if he can touch the famous CNS. See if he can touch every single thing that the Aboriginal people think that now is just simple to survive. And also in the long run, see if they can touch the decision of the Aboriginal people to keep fighting until this land come back to the real owners, that it has to control the land, not only because it belongs to them, if not, because if we want to have this island alive in the next 50 years, the only way is going to be with the control of the Aboriginal people. Because the white people is demonstrated, it can destroy the environment so easy. We don't care about that. The Aboriginal people can demonstrate to all of us that it's easy to live with the nature. It is easy to protect the nature because it's part of us and not destroy it. And the only way is, sometimes I say this and sometimes laugh. I always said, the first people in the land, in this land, was the Aboriginal people. And if they are not the last people in this land, won't be any land. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, thank you for coming out, but you know, people have got to make a commitment, and you can make a commitment at 9 o'clock Friday, Supreme Court, the last say of the hearing for the eviction. Just up there, you don't have to go too far. Teddy's been in court a lot with the lawyer, fought him off so far. We need to fight him off more, and Raoul is correct. Win this battle, you win a lot of battles. He's correct about another thing. I'm proud to be up home. We call ourselves Murrays. I'm proud to be a Murray. I'm proud to be fighting with Kooris down here because we know how to fight. And when people say, oh, but why should we get this? You've got to have a look. Public housing came through the fight for Aboriginal people to get housing. Medical services, Medicare medical services that you get around come through Aboriginal people fighting for their medical service. It all trickles down. Our fight. Legal aid. White people got legal aid because of black people fighting for legal services. So it trickles down. I don't know why the bloody hell Australians don't get out and fight for us, because they end up getting the benefits. We end up getting funding cuts, and legal aid hasn't got any funding cuts. As soon as they haven't got any, cut $14 million from Aboriginal legal service. So why don't people get out and fight? Because the more we gain, the more you bloody gain. And yet it's all sit back and leave us fight our alone, except for you people who come here. Go and tell your friends to get up their asses and come and support us, because our benefits are your benefits. If we beat the government, we beat them on everybody's behalf, not just us. And if you're going to live in this country, you cannot live in this country and call yourself a citizen of Australia if you're allowing what is happening to the First Nations people to happen. You cannot walk proud in this country until all the injustices are rectified and stopped. Now we've got one more speaker and we'll finish then with Jenny Munro, but we've got my old mate Raymond Weatherall, a good old brother and a good old warrior. Here we go, brother.
I pay no respect to my past and present elders here on Gadigal land, warriors, and one thing we should realise, places of significance like this, they usually kill people here and buried over the top of them. Look, I used to walk up here to Parliament House and I used to sing out Neville Breen, give us our land. I've been fighting for 40 years as a young man with my auntie here. I follow her to the end of the earth to fight. The one thing that we have now with black people is the oppressors of our own people. That's Mickey. My cousin lived on the block for 30 years. He paid rent all of the time. The housing was never maintained there. We have an idiot in there who does not know how to run a business. Keep housing. He used that to get the people out of there. They'll never be moved back there. I know that for a fact, because the Department of Housing will never move you back. People used to come down to Sydney, okay? Redfern was a hub for black people to come from the bush. We come there, I know that when I go home to my country, it makes my spirit grow. That's what people used to use Redfern for, was to come down there to see other brothers and sisters. Yeah, I'm a long time listener and a first time speaker, so you've got to bear with me. My brain's coming through as I speak, okay?
That's awesome.
I come here today because I fight for these people, I fight for you, for you, for you. Justice for everybody, not just for me. I talk to everybody that I meet about our plight, as an Aboriginal man, as an Aboriginal woman. Look, the one thing with Nikki, okay, I've known that family since I moved to Sydney. See, when they first started getting services done in Redfern, okay, you had all people working together to make it better. We had a medical service built, then you had the legal service and stuff like that. With Bob Blair and other people that got it done, and Aunt Jen. I won't mention. They got the legal service and things like that because we had bad incarceration rates back then. Now in our country now we have a youth suicide rate, okay, it's the third worst in the world, okay? They take electricity things off the poles up in the Northern Territory so kids can't climb up and electrocute themselves or hang themselves. Okay, you have a problem when you move people off your land, you die on the inside. They don't do anything culturally, these people, anymore. They don't listen to us. They never have and they never will. But with other people, if you go and talk to your friends, we all talk to each other and their friends, then you will get more people because it's wrong. Every person that's a human being, inside of yourself, you know when something's wrong. If you have people talking about it, then there is something wrong. The worst thing that we have as blackfellas, and I will tell you right now, is our people have become the oppressors. Okay, they've turned the table on us. Now the worst thing, they're all assimilationists. I don't want to assimilate to be a white person. I was born black and I'll stay black and I'll die black. And I'm a proud black man. And I'll stay that way for the rest of my life. My children here will be brought up that way as well. I'll never forget where they come from. My daughter lives in Claymore, but she still says she comes from Parliment because that's where we are from. That's where our spirits are, my ancestors are.
Fucking
I can't say anymore because I'm getting too nervous, but give me another 10 seconds.
Right on, brother.
Well said for a first-time speaker. Just to round up, I think we've covered some very valid points today. There's one thing I just wanted to say, maybe in closing, to the Premier of the State of New South Wales. Australia as a nation has ratified internationally the Genocide Convention, but Australia has not enacted domestic legislation to outlaw genocide in this country. So if Mike Baird wants to be seen as progressive Liberal leader for the state of New South Wales, outlaw the act of genocide in the state of New South Wales, and you might give Tony Abbott some direction for the future. If we as the state of New South Wales can say we do not let anybody commit genocide in this state anymore, we can ensure at least one thing: Black lives matter in this state. Even if they don't matter in the other states of this country, we will make a statement that they matter here. So come on, Michael, pull the finger out. Finally, when you all go home to your nice warm beds in your nice houses with your 2 cars and your 3 or 4 televisions, remember our community that you dispossess and deprive every day of our lives these basic rights. You are the epitome of the devil for our people. Since 1788 you have been the devil in our country. We survive by our law. It sustains and nurtures us. It has done for thousands of years, so long science doesn't know. But under your system in 227 years, every day of those 227 years, your white man's law has killed us. Please, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of justice, stop the murder of black people on their own land. Recognise we're the billionaires, you are the beggars, and your spirit is so cold and heartless and lifeless that you don't even have spirits anymore. And if you are not in connection and have connection to spirit, you're very cold and callous people. We have in our society, in our culture, a very, very close and intimate connection with our spirit world and our people. And even after they're gone, they still guide us. I'm not sure where you get your guidance from, white Australia and the white world, but it certainly seems to me that it comes straight from the devil's table.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you, everyone, for turning up. Penny just reminded me one thing about the murder, and a message for Mike Bird as well. We have two histories in this country: the white version, which has been sterile, the black version, which tells the truth that happened in this country. We will have a future history. Mike Bird, if you sign that document to kill off the custody notification service, in future black history, you will be written down or you'll be spoken about as one of the biggest serial murderers in the history of this state. And that's all you'll be remembered for. Remember that, Mike Bird, when you go to sleep tonight. If you do that, you will become, in effect, a serial murderer. Keep that in your mind.
Thank you once again, everyone, for coming. Maintain the rage, keep up your presence, and we will win.